Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Chad and this is a video on why EA Xibalba is the best nation in the game of Dominions 5. First off, we're going to go into their most important trait, flying. But to really understand why Xibalba having flying is so important, we need to kind of look at how we got flying. So, the Wright brothers, who wanted to invent the first airplane, realized they couldn't, and they had to do battle with Jesus to get the rights to do so. It was a difficult fight, but the Wright brothers were known for being chess masters, and thus were able to pull one over on the big man, and he, being a man of his word, he acquiesced and gave them the power of flight, which they promptly gave to all birds, their airplane, and started testing experiments on fat kids. The important thing to note there is we were gifted it via divine power, the ability to fly, whereas the Xibalbans, well, by naturally possessing such abilities, they are naturally a divine and powerful race. The Xibalbans possessed a powerful ability called Spirit Sight. This allowed them to see into the other realm, like folk heroes of old, such as Constantine and Danny Phantom. This powerful ability not only allows them to see all the ghosts that are coming through, but to fight anything and everyone. Which is interesting because Xibalba's closest allies, the Scorpions, also have the same mentality, being basically crabs of the land that decided to forego their water dependency and instead have poison flowing through their veins, which they can inject via a powerful stinger. Scientists today have also found that scorpions have a few intrinsic properties that were not extremely obvious to many individuals. One such ability is their unrelenting hate. Most animals have some level of this, but scorpions, more so even than crabs, have an unrelenting hate and desire to fight and kill everything that exists, which probably in part pairs with their other intrinsic ability that anything a scorpion kills, their soul is completely destroyed. Now, unfortunately, Illwinter, when they created the Scorpion profile, probably weren't aware of this important scientific fact, but I'm sure in the next update they'll presumably add Soul Slay to Scorpion stings. But until then, they are not entirely representative of what they would be in nature. It's also worth noting that these Xibalbans control these Scorpions in a very aggressive way by essentially screaming at them until they obey. You might think at this point that Xibalba can't really bring much more to the table, given that they've got flying, the ability to see anything and thus fight anything, and their companions are also always up for a fight. But they have a very important bat theme that they stick with, and this bat theme is essentially a extra layer of coolness and protection. I mean, think about Batman, he loved bats. They were his favorite animal. That's why he modeled himself after a bat. He tried to become a bat one time, but he unfortunately failed. But if he had, we could assume that Xibalba would have taken over the real world, and our history would be much different than it is now. Now, what I'm showing here is the roster for Xibalba, and one thing, of course, is a concerning note, is that the army and all of its fighters are primarily male, which would normally be a problem in the Hunga Bachunga Huanga category, but there has been a secret leak from Illwinter, one of Illwinter's top artists, actually, Arumo, who has done some concept art for a Xibalban female. Thus, as we can see here, they probably are going to have some use in either the next couple updates or so. We're probably going to see a rework from Xibalba including such art. So, there's nothing to fear in that regard. Xibalba also possesses powerful magic and strong blood magic, a magic that requires sacrifice and demands its power and strength and summoning of otherworldly beings. The powerful blood magic of Xibalba has a few interesting national spells. For one, you can summon demon bats, that's right, keeping in with the important bat theme. Another very strong ability of Xibalba, perhaps the strongest ability in the entire game, is to steal the sun. That's right. Giant, unbelievably sized intergalactic ball of fire, boom, taken. Put away in a little cave somewhere so that they can watch a tiny shrunken down version of the sun for fun. These guys are metal as fuck. It might be hard to believe, but these flying, Danny Phantom sighted, scorpion palling around, blood magic, sun stealing, bat crazy, hunga bunga potentialist faction do have a few downsides. First, and primarily, is they are cold-blooded. Obviously, they have to be, since they are cold-blooded killers that fly into combat blind and take on anyone, man, ghost, ghost man, but it does slow them down in the cold, which kind of makes their whole stealing the sun thing a little bit awkward. Perhaps they can plug it in somewhere and like into heaters, but regardless, it is a downside for them. The other unfortunate thing for the Xibalbans is they have very poor health care. Very rarely are they going to get anyone on their roster that can do any sort of important amounts of healing, and the nation of Xibalba is divided up into a great amount of provinces. And those provinces, their health insurance companies are not allowed to compete cross-province lines, thus making it very expensive for Xibalbans to get health care. And so most of the time when you get somebody who's crippled or wounded, you're just going to be dragging them along with the army. They'll probably die in flight, or they'll just, crumple on the battlefield, since there's no real way to treat the poor Xibalbans. That being said, these warriors of Xibalba are clearly a force to be reckoned with. Perhaps even a force to cause the reckoning to happen. They are, hands down, easily, subjectively, scientifically, and mathematically the best early age nation, or just any nation at all in Dominions 5. Thank you all for watching, and recommend in the comments if you want to look at another nation specifically.